Good evening and welcome again to Ideas at Work and Beyond. Delighted to be here this evening. We sort of upgraded our set a little bit with this lovely pewter dish from Keeler Tavern in Ridgefield. And the Chamber of Commerce had a raffle, and I was lucky enough to win it this evening, so we're very excited. We're also, thank you for that applause, thank you very much. We're also delighted to have Keith Miller with us. Keith is the chairman of the Board of Ed in Ridgefield, and we want to focus on Ridgefield this evening and talk a little bit about the Board of Ed. First, I want to know a little bit more about you. Where were you born? Where were you raised? What brought you here?
Born and raised all over the country. Born in Virginia, grew up outside of Boston, then outside of New Haven, then outside of Philadelphia. Went to school down in Baltimore at Johns Hopkins.
Okay.
When I got out of there, I went to the West Coast to work for Hewlett-Packard, and then back to the East Coast for an MBA in Philadelphia at Wharton.
Okay.
Then down to Washington, D.C. for some consulting, then back out to Cincinnati to work for GE Aircraft Engines.
How long have you been in Ridgefield for?
And spent the last 8 or 9 years here in Ridgefield.
Okay, okay. Wharton School, Wharton MBA.
Correct.
Impressive school. Ivy League.
Very good school.
That's good. They just don't let anyone in there. You got to really be on.
You got to work hard, yeah.
Okay. Now, what possessed you to first become a member of the Board of Ed and then to get elected to the chairman of the Board of Ed?
Well, last summer, Jeff Grillick left the Board of Ed. Personal reasons, he couldn't finish his term, and so they looked for volunteers. And I'd spent the last year and a half doing civic work, trying to keep a casino out of Gettysburg, and I said, you know, I could do civic work closer to my home, Ridgefield.
Okay,
I mean, my kids go to the school. I love Ridgefield. It's a great community. And so I volunteered. Okay. And it's been great ever since. I've loved it.
Now, to keep a casino out of Gettysburg, that's part of sort of a hobby of yours or a passion of yours, is Civil War?
Yeah, since I was a little kid, I've been sort of a Civil War enthusiast, and when this thing came up, it just struck me as sort of a bad idea.
So were you successful in keeping it?
We kept it out. We were very successful, but I took my business background down there and helped them, remembering the work that had been done here in Ridgefield when one was proposed to stick it, you know, on the Danbury-Ridgefield line. And you know, it can be a good business for a community, but it can also be a big burden.
Yeah.
And, it was nice to do that. But I wanted to give more to the community, so I volunteered for the Board of Ed, and as I say, it's been great.
Now you find
after
yourself...
a couple months, they decided that you know, they should make me chair, and so for the last 4, 5, 6 months, I've been chair.
Okay, excellent. I think they're working on your mic. You know, actually, we had a article in the Ridgefield Press talking a little bit about the Board of Ed and some of the communication issues that are coming up. I understand that it was a very contentious vote, a split board as far as you becoming the chairman. Sort of, I think the vote was 4-4, and then it was finally brokered. And anyway, well, it just seems it's a headline on the Ridgefield Press talking about nitpicking building to a crescendo. What are your thoughts on that? Is this accurate? Isn't it accurate? Well, and one other question, one follow-up question is, well, I'll get to that. Go ahead.
You know, as always, Mac does a fantastic job of covering the town and covering the schools. And there's, you know, people on the board had concerns when I was elected. There are several members who have, all of them had more experience than I did. And, you know, that concern, you know, they've continued to carry that. And, you know, when issues come up, they will, you know, push them. You know, they have every right. I'm glad they do. I mean, one of the things that makes Ridgefield schools great is the passion that everybody in the community feels with respect to the schools. We should do more of this. We should do a better job of that. We don't need to do this. We need to do that. And I wouldn't ask anyone not to take a passionate and strong view, because you know, the worst thing is apathy,
Yeah.
and we don't have that, and that's what makes our schools great.
Okay.
So they bring that passion to the board. We've gotten our work done. We got a new superintendent, which people were concerned about, but we got that done. We got the budget done, and you know, with the help from the Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen, it was, you know, 2/3 of the voters supported it, which is the
Yeah.
biggest margin in I think anybody can remember.
Yeah.
Which is just fantastic. And it's a, you know, it wasn't everything that the board was looking for, but it's still a big increase per student. A lot of good things that we're getting going, and we're keeping everything that we had. So, you know, we've gotten our work done, and you know, when that's done, people take that same passion for the work and turn it to, you know, what else can we work on? And you know, they have some complaints or nitpicking, I guess is.
What is a self-evaluation session? And I understand that the board is going to have a second self-evaluation session.
Oh, that's just, it's very simple. We sit in the room and we say what we like and what we don't like, what we'd like to do more of, what we'd like to do less of,
Okay.
How we think we can improve our meetings and agendas and the processes we work with. And you know, it's a helpful process that I think all organizations should go through. And so you know, there's a desire to do one, you know, as the new superintendent comes on, and I think that'll be fantastic.
Okay, tell me a little bit about the new superintendent. Her name, where she's from,
Yeah,
what the process was, when do they start, that kind of thing.
Yeah, her name's Debbie Lowe. She's out of Wilton. She was currently the assistant superintendent down there of curriculum. She's been in Wilton for 20 years. She came in as dean of students out of Michigan, if I remember correctly, and has worked through the system. She was principal of the high school for a number of years before becoming the assistant superintendent. And everyone down there just loves her, and to a certain extent, they're pleased that she's going to have this opportunity, but they really wish she could stay there because she's been a very strong contributor across the board.
Wilton's loss is our game.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
We have a caller. And by the way, the phone number here is 792-4101. 792-4101. Caller, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hello, yes, you're on the air.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
I'd like to know if Mr. Miller would like to make some changes, more so than he has already accomplished, and good for him. Why they do not open up the Board of Education meetings where there is more interaction between those people who are present and the board. Why is it so many stringencies are put on you? You cannot ask a question while there's something on the agenda being presented. You know, we're talking about openness here. If we want to accomplish more for our schools, why isn't the Board of Education more open, similarly to what you can see with the Board of Selectmen and some of the other committees that are now considering televising some of their meetings?
Excellent question. Thank you. Thank you. Why is that? The Board of Ed, it does seem like I've sat in, for full disclosure, I'm a member of the Board of Finance, and I don't think our meetings are quite as well attended as yours, depending on what issues come up. But there has been a history with the Board of Ed of being a little confining as far as, you know, the public having a chance to say a few things. They're held in check. Why is that going to change?
Yes and no. I mean, there is a portion of the meeting at the beginning where if people from the public, the community, have some concerns and want to bring them to us, they can do that. So there's a portion set aside. One of the things that I've tried to implement is to basically say, to the extent we're going to take action on some item that has not been part of a public meeting, and this is consistent with the Selectmen and the Board of Finance, this is basically their policy, that with the agreement of the board, we'll take public comment. We've done that a couple times. I've asked for it other times, and there's been some hesitancy on the part of the board. There's a legacy on the board of trying to manage that process of public input, but I think as they get more comfortable with it, hopefully it will open up, because people should have an opportunity to provide input. In addition, our emails and phone numbers are out there. If people have questions or concerns, they can call, they can email, they can grab us at any time. I'm willing to meet with anybody to hear their concerns. So there is some openness, but I understand the caller's question, and I think it's an area where we could try to improve.
What about television? I have it on good authority that the producer of this television show, Ivan, would be willing to set up the camera and whatever's necessary to have the Board of Ed meetings broadcast on this very station. Why can't we do that? It's democracy. It's supposed to be open government.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not everyone can schlub off at night to these various meetings, or is their interest, but if it was on their television, they might tune in.
I think as Ms. Lowe arrives, it's something that I definitely think we will revisit and look at. We had a brief discussion of it before the budget season. Again, hesitancy on the part of the board to do that. They used to be televised by Tiger TV, and there was a wonderful program that is also, unfortunately, very expensive. And so I guess it was curtailed 4 or 5 years ago. But we have heard the interest, and I think it's something, again, we'll work with the new superintendent and get her feeling for how we can do that. And perhaps Ivan could help us. I mean, that'd be fantastic. Because
when does the new superintendent start?
Beginning of July. Beginning
of July. So when can we expect the Board of Ed programs to begin, or the Board of Ed meetings to begin to be televised? I won't hold you to it, but I mean, best case scenario, what would it look like?
Best case scenario, with the concurrence of the board, probably August or September meetings. There's not much of a schedule in July as school goes on break. And not a lot of schedule in August either, but as the school year gets started and people are back, I do think it's worth revisiting because there is a lot of interest.
So check your local listings, Channel 23, Comcast Cable, for the Ridgefield Board of Education meetings. I think it'll be a good thing. I think it'd be a good thing to allow the television cameras to come.
I mean, to be fair, anybody who wants to can show up and tape this stuff. I mean, the public's allowed to do that. It's a public meeting, and that's their prerogative.
Absolutely. Hold on. We have the public calling in. Caller, you're on the air? Caller, you're on the air? Oh, we lost the caller. Sorry about that. Please call back in because we want to hear what you had to say. It was a technical problem on my part. Talk a little bit about the budgets. This last budget season, for the first time, the Board of Selectmen had a non-binding vote on the Board of Ed budget. They voted to cut the budget. When I say cut, it's a decrease in the requested increase. So it's not a cut. You're getting an additional $4 or $5 million over what you got last year. Per student, I guess it's an 8% increase in per student expenditures over last year. But how did that work? It seems like it was contentious, although it was a unanimous vote on the Board of Selectmen. Then it went to the Board of Finance. It was a unanimous vote on the Board of Finance, and then it went through. Hold on, let me try one more time. Caller, you're in the air?
Yes.
Hello.
Hi there. Mr. Heiser, I just wanted to answer the question. It's Lynn Waller. I'm on the Cable Advisory Commission.
Oh, great.
The gentleman can put his show on the educational channel. It would not go on public access. I'm sure it lasts longer than half an hour, which is the max they give. There is an educational channel. I think it's 26. If not, it's 24. But they can broadcast their movies or their Board of Ed meetings on there once it gets settled, or they could put them on in their entirety on the government channel because they are elected officials, therefore they belong on the government channel.
So Lynn, would you welcome this input from the Ridgefield Board of Ed to have their meetings televised?
Sure, why not?
Excellent.
That's what the channel's there for. That's what we fought so hard to get for so long. And Comcast finally put them on. I believe there is a direct wire from their high school back to Comcast that would automatically put you on the air during your 8 hours on the government channel.
Perfect. So Ivan will help with the technical aspect. Lynn is offering us broadcast time, and we just got to put it together. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Appreciate it. So, yeah, well,
To the budget.
yes, the budget.
Yeah, this was the first year where the charter was revised, and the selectmen weighed in with an opinion on it,
Right.
non-binding, and you all followed that. I mean, just so people understand, the administration does a lot of hard work evaluating and setting priorities for the school budget, and they came in with a request for a $5 million increase, which was 7.3%. And as the selectmen looked at that, I believe the Board of Finance as well, the concern was that with 7% from the schools and, you know, a comparable amount from the town, the mill rate increase was a significant increase on top of what had happened before, and you all decided to reduce town and school expenditures to manage that mill rate increase.
Hold that thought one second. This could be one of those taxpayers that's seeing their
Very good.
taxes go up a mere 2.6%. Lowest tax increase in 14 years. Caller, you're on the air.
Hi, one of the hot topics right now is several communities are considering splitting their budgets. And I understand Ridgefield's split their budget vote for the last 35 years or so.
Yes, that's true.
And I wanted to ask both of you guys, how has that impacted your budget referendum season? I understand that it's pretty rare for you guys to go beyond 2 referendums.
Yeah, thank you for the call. I think I can address that. It's true that in Ridgefield we have a separate vote for the Board of Ed budget and a separate vote for the town budget. And rarely are they voted down, although there was one year
4 years ago it was voted down,
where the town budget was passed and the school budget wasn't. Now the Board of Ed went back and saw where they could economize and come up with some reductions in their increase, and then it passed on the second take.
Right.
I kind of like it that way. I mean, the taxpayers see where the money's going. They see percentage-wise where the increases are. Your thoughts?
No, I think it does help. It allows them to see that. The reality is it all comes back to one mill rate, which is one of the areas that, you know, from taxpayer perspective that they care about. But anyway, you know, when it was all said and done, as you said, there was a reduction in the increase we only got $4 million as opposed to $5 million. It was 5.87%. We maintained all the programs we had. We also added about 9 instructors to special education. We expanded Chinese in the middle school, adding another grade following on the prior efforts. We're bringing on a new technical program at the high school. And so we even with the reduction in the increase, there's still a number of very exciting programs, in addition to all the programs that we did have.
You did want to mention that it's not just you know, tooting your own horn, but Newsweek magazine also Ridgefield.
If this can be seen, I mean, last week's Newsweek put us in the top 5% of schools, high schools in the country. It's a very narrow metric that they've used, basically how many people are taking advanced placement courses. And Ridgefield ranked at the top of the Durgay with, you know, 2 per student, which is fantastic.
Go through those towns again that we beat.
Oh, well, you know, the Wiltons and the Westons and the Dariens and the New Canaans. And,
so we are listed in Newsweek magazine ahead of them as far as the Board of Education.
Yeah. Now, you know, when I said we edged them out, we were 2, they were 1.7 or 1.8. So they're all great schools. But, you know, Ridgefield is a fantastic community.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate very much you coming in. We're excited. We're very excited about the new superintendent of schools that are coming in and going forward. And I'm glad to see that the Board of Ed is going on these self-awareness retreats, and I'm sure that they'll be all singing Kumbaya soon enough, and appreciate it very much. I know we were talking about it on the way here. My kids and your kids are products of the school, and we appreciate it. Next week, Ivan has asked us to have a weekly segment on Ridgefield, so there could be some excitement coming up next week. There's a candidate for first selectman that's considering a run, and he or she may be joining us, but more on that to come. Also, Congressman Chris Shays has expressed interest in appearing on the show, and John Fry, our state representative. Actually, I was in Hartford just yesterday watching him fight the tax increase battle in Hartford, and he's agreed to be on the show as well, but he has to finish his work in Hartford first. So thank you very much for tuning in. Following us, there's 2 other segments on ideas at work and beyond, so stay tuned for that. Thank you.